Welcome to the first module of this program, taking account of where I am. Sometimes we just need to slow all the way down, reflect, and take account and accountability for where we are in our lives. A lot of the time, we can be so overwhelmed with everyday life and a consistent go, go, go cycle and don't even realize that we're rushing to get nowhere fast. Let's slow down. Taking personal account for your life is so important because you need to know where you are so that you can get clear, plan, and make the necessary personal changes to align with where you desire to be. We all need time to reflect. It also helps you be honest enough with yourself to become aware of what areas in your life you need help in, what problems and fears you need to confront, and what needs to be removed or added to your life in order for you to increase your mental, physical, and emotional well-being. I used to believe that if people and situations in the external world would just change, everything in my life would be better. However, that single belief was the exact cause of so much of my pain and suffering. I would spend so much of my time frustrated that others couldn't just think like me, behave in a manner that I saw fit, or just see eye to eye and create simple changes in their life that themselves and others around them would benefit from, myself included. I would literally disregard the fact that I was doing the exact same thing I was so frustrated at them about. I mean, if I were to change myself, I would realize that the name of the game isn't to change other people. The real winners in life spend that same time and energy I was spending being angry, frustrated, pointing fingers, and wishing external change on things that are not in my control, on investments, becoming better, and spending time in places where the people, mindsets, and activities are in alignment with growth, service, collaboration, and creativity. Now, my problem wouldn't be trying to make someone else change. I've now grown and have the ability to communicate and relate with people on a much higher frequency. People that are self-motivated and have already created habits of self-discipline and self-improvement. So it became clear that the problem had always been me and where I was deciding to place my focus and energy. We all have encountered those challenging friends and family members who are extremely hard for anyone to be around. They're extremely stuck in their ways, and we all know they're not looking to change anytime soon. I want you to get a clear picture of who that is in your life, and imagine spending the next 10 years of your life trying to change their stubborn, deeply ingrained habits. Doesn't sound fun, does it? Now imagine spending those same 10 years improving yourself. You're in the gym every day, haven't missed a healthy day of eating in 10 years, you've been traveling different countries, cultivating quality relationships, and you've been saving and investing your money, acquiring cash-flowing assets, creating personal freedom in your life. Which cause do you think would have the most beneficial effect on your life, personal happiness, and the lives of those around you? Obviously, investing in yourself. Plus, it may have even ended up inspiring those challenging friends or family members and gradually influencing their thoughts, actions, and behaviors over time. There's a quote that states, "Bees don't spend their lives trying to explain to flies why honey is better than shit." If you pay attention, they spend their time and energy extracting from flowers to invest in their honeycomb harvest. I love this quote because it reminds me to mind my own business, live my life, and allow others to live theirs. And that there's a time and place to add my 2 cents. And oftentimes, I've noticed it might be wiser to just focus on evolving myself. That alone inspires more positive change in others than begging and pleading ever could. My mentor introduced me to the truth that I was my only problem, and that if I changed what was going on internally, my external results would change so fast that I'd be wondering why I spent so much of my time and energy wishing the outside world would change. So I put my pride and ego aside, wrote down my habits and beliefs, and wrote down the people, environments, and personal excuses in my life that were holding me back. Then I drew a line through everything that was no longer serving me and replaced it with something that was in alignment with my preferred reality. For example, blaming others for my external results was a poor habit that was holding me back. So I put a clean line through it and replaced it with the phrase, "I hold myself responsible for anything that shows up in my life." This helped me become extremely clear on where I was and made me take accountability for the life I was creating for myself up until that point. Over the years, I've asked myself a series of questions that have worked wonders in helping me get clear on where I am in my journey. And now I'm going to share those same questions with you with the intention of helping you gain clarity on where you are. As I go over them, I advise you to write them down and answer them. Then, if there's anything you identify that you're not happy with, cross it out and replace it with your preferred reality in great detail, including why the previous reality was no longer serving you, and why this new preferred reality will be beneficial to you and everyone around you. It's extremely important you do this if you want to see serious results in your life. You will only get out of this program the effort you put into it. That's a universal law. There are also worksheets attached to this course that take the main points from each module and forms them into intentional questions structured to help you gain clarity. Every question you need to answer is on there, so let's go over these questions. Do I love the person I've become up until this point? What do I love about the person I've become? What don't I love about the person I've become and why? How happy am I with my physical health? What do I love about my physical health? What about my physical health could use improvements and why? How would I describe my mental and emotional health? What can I do to improve my mental and emotional well-being? Would I consider the relationships in my life healthy and in alignment to what I wish to become? Why or why not? Am I completely satisfied with my romantic relationship life? Explain why or why not, and what you would like to improve about it. What challenges have been a consistent recurring theme in my life, and why do I think that is? Am I fulfilled in what I do? Why or why not? Do I absolutely love how I spend my days? What do I love about how I spend my days? What would I like to change about how I spend my days and why? How would I describe my financial life and spending habits? Are my spending habits healthy? Am I satisfied with how much I earn? Why or why not? Am I elated to live in the environment that I do? What do I love about the environment I live in? What do I wish I could change about the environment that I live in? Do I think there's a better environment I'd rather live in? If so, please describe the environment you'd like to live in. Do I currently associate myself with things, food, people, narratives, environments that are holding me back in my life? What are they and why? What skills do I feel I need to learn or improve on in order to advance in the direction of my dreams? How would I describe my internal conversation and narratives? Does my internal conversation line up with what I wish to become? Please answer how and how not. Answering these questions honestly will help you become aware of what is and isn't pulling you toward your highest good in your life. If you've noticed some things in your life that are not the best for you, that is okay. We all have some things we can improve, remove, and replace in our lives, including me. The good thing is that you've become aware of what is no longer serving you. Most people walk around with habits, people, and material clutter that are pulling their mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual health downhill, oftentimes while being trapped in environments that aren't healthy for them. And the part that sucks is that they aren't even aware that this is the case. So they are unconsciously conditioned that their way of living is normal. They believe it's normal. In most cases, they live the rest of their existence in a deep sleep, believing that everyone else was a problem and that if everyone else would just change, then their lives would be great. Now that's a horrible illusion to live in because it's just not the truth. And it's creating pain and suffering for the people who believe that. So it's a blessing that people like you and I are continuously becoming aware of old conditioning and narratives we have unconsciously been programmed with, and are choosing to change them, steering our lives in our own direction. Have you ever noticed how powerful conditioning is? We are literally the sum of our parents' thoughts, emotions, beliefs, and perspective. Their DNA is programmed so deep in us that we look just like them. Now imagine how deep our parents' conditioning is from your grandparents' thoughts, beliefs, and emotions that have worn off on them. These genes were also passed down to you. I wonder how much your grandparents' mindset and beliefs were influenced by external forces, media, music, society, and environment. Have you ever noticed that most people grow into exactly who their parents are? This is how strong conditioning is, and honestly, how most of us got to where we are today. If we haven't taken initiative to intentionally condition our own minds and mold ourselves into what we see fit, then the chances are extremely high that we've unconsciously become the sum of our family, friends, and environmental thinking. And I'm sure they were conditioned by their immediate environment as well. But what about our own thoughts and shaping our own lives and environment instead of just going with the flow of passed down thoughts and emotions everyone else had? One interesting thing I've learned living outside of my home country is that group thought is real. What we grow up influenced to think and believe by our environment is all that we know. If we never stepped outside of that, we don't even know that there are different ways of thinking, believing, or living because we never had the option to choose our own thoughts, birthplace, or suggestions we'd be marinated in since birth that would linger deep in our subconscious minds. It's funny because the ideas I believed the whole world understood and lived by was met with confusion and question marks when I bought my American ideas to the local Indonesians. Some other travelers would tell me about their mega celebrities and leaders in their home countries and be mind blown that I had never heard of them. I'd also be confused that they'd never heard of mine. In my home country, you'd get a ticket for driving without a seatbelt. Here, they all drive motor scooters, and it's normal to have a mother, father, grandmother, newborn baby, and dog on a motorcycle. My mind was blown by what could be considered normal in different areas of the world based on their upbringing and environmental conditioning. So what we've been programmed to believe is normal plays a huge role in our lives and has direct correlation to how we've become how we are. However, it is still our job to change and mold our minds and hearts into what we decide for ourselves. Now you might be thinking, but DJ, what if I have slightly different challenges than everyone else around me? How would I figure out the root cause of my personal challenges? Okay, it's important to know that we're all made of the same source, but we're all hardwired slightly different, and that's what makes us all unique. So this means our minds may perceive experiences differently. Some may perceive an event as traumatic, and that may be something they end up struggling with for a long time in their lives, while someone else perceived the same thing and thought, this didn't faze me at all, what can I learn from it and move on? Now, neither one is right or wrong, it's just that personal experience, perspective, and sensitivity may differ from person to person. For example, I'm an extremely sensitive person. I can get overwhelmed with too many lights being on at once. A negative person can drain my mood, taking me hours, if not days, to pick back up. Even loud sounds from cars driving and honking can overstimulate me, leaving me feeling low and drained. So if you're dealing with something that you've been holding on to for a long time and it causes you to feel heavy, less than, or that your potential and authentic happy self is just out of reach, I want you to know you are loved. It is completely okay to feel how you feel. I've personally witnessed people transcend and heal from the worst of it all, so I know it is possible for you. And I want to help you release these things so that the weight can be lifted off your heart and you can feel free and whole because you have such a powerful purpose. You are valuable to this world and you have such a bright future to look forward to. I believe you can take your hardships, heal from them, and use them as tools to help other people transcend the same darkness you know you will. I mean that from the bottom of my heart. It's extremely important that we pinpoint where some of our deep-rooted challenges come from, pinpointing the exact moment that had an impact on us. The moment that made us shape a limiting idea of the world that isn't in alignment with who we wish to grow into. This way, we are able to identify the root cause of some of the negative cycles that keep recurring in your life. So what I'm going to do is give you a couple of simple questions to ask yourself that will help you connect the dots. Because if we pinpoint the cause to the effect, we can come up with a solution to solve the problem. These are just for you. They will not be submitted. No one will see it but you. It is a personal exercise intended to help you highlight root causes. So here we go. 1. Are there any traumatic events that have occurred in my life that still make me feel low, shameful, afraid, or guilty? Including events I've never faced, and don't even like talking about facing. 2, what specifically happened? 3, write out your perspective of what actually happened in the scenario or scenarios that created a blockage in your mind and heart. Although this may be challenging, it's good to get it out on paper. We always have a much higher chance of solving problems when they are out of our mind and on paper where we can look at it. 4, would I rather live the rest of my life experiencing my traumas weighing on my heart, or do what it takes to transcend them? 5, if I face this challenge and did the inner work to heal from and overcome them, what positive effects would it have on my life? 6, do I accept that I have the choice to allow myself to heal and grow? 7, do I understand that life loves me no matter what, and that my experiences don't define who I am? 8, do I understand that I am able to forgive myself for holding myself to these experiences? 9, do I choose to let go of my negative attachments to these scenarios and change my perspective to one that can extract the positive lessons from these experiences and become wiser? 10, do I understand that by facing and overcoming my challenges, I enable myself to be able to use my lessons to help people that are praying they'd find someone that understands them and has the wisdom to help them out of the exact same scenario I've experienced? 11, am I 100% clear that internal transformation is the one and only way to achieve this? 12, do I wholeheartedly choose to transcend these challenges and free my mind and heart from a lifelong battle of negative cycles? If so, why or why not? Now, the great thing about taking responsibility for where you're at and becoming aware of what is and isn't working in your life is that you can now begin looking for answers to how you can fix these problems and invite more positivity, clarity, and breakthroughs into your life. You can't solve a problem you're not aware of. So now that we've gotten clear on where we are, have written out our answers to the questions provided, and crossed out and replaced what is no longer serving us with statements of what we're ready to invite in our lives, written in present tense, let's define where we want to go in the second module of this program, Where Am I Going?